Like, never like, never like, never like.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Zarina. Thank you for tuning in, for those of you that are already subscribers. And if you're new, I hope you enjoy this video. And if you do, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe for future videos from myself as well. Today's video, very quick one again, off the back of the last video that I did. And it was just about how we perceive people's behavior towards us. And the reason why I wanted to do this quickly is because sometimes I catch myself, and I don't know if this is down to me being an only child and just not having to think about too many people's point of view, but sometimes I catch myself, let's say I'm sending someone a message and they reply and they're like, yes, that's fine. And it feels super abrupt and like I'm not used to that from them. Or if I go out of my way and, send information to a client and then they don't get back to me for ages, sometimes the initial response I have is to think, oh, something's happened and they no longer want to work with me, let's say. Or if it's the friend, it may be that like, oh no, I've done something, so they're really pissed off with me today. What have I done? Did I say something wrong? Or just thinking that this whole response and this whole like, however they've come back to me is about me. And I just want to mention one little thing that I do, and I'm sure many people already do this, but I have to proactively learn this, is to not take that personally. I can take things personally quite quickly, and what I've learned is that does for me is it puts me in a state of stress and anxiety and overthinking and over worrying, when that situation is more than likely a 5% of the time is nothing to do with me. And I wanted to share this with someone else out there, just in case anyone else finds themselves like interpreting things that probably don't even exist, is when something happens that you feel an initial like, oh, how, they're not being very nice, or, oh, what have I done, or anything like that. It's to take a step back to that initial like judgment and reaction and like almost like feeling a panic, and just ask, could there be another reason as to why this is happening, that as to why, they may be responding in this way? Could they be having a really stressful day? They may be. Could it be that they've had some bad news? Could it be they're having just a stress day? Could it be that they're in a meeting? Whatever it may be. Could it be that my customer is just like having a really busy time of the week? Could it be that this and this and this? And ultimately, I find when I do that, number one, it keeps me way less anxious about everything, and I can just release that, and I might decide to just maybe follow up again in a period of time. Or if it is a friend and they're acting in a way that I'm like, this is not really like them, I may choose to communicate and say, oh, thanks for letting me know, I hope everything's okay. If there's anything you need, let me know anytime. Obviously, I think communication is really important anyway. And I think if you're in a situation, if I'm in a situation where I'm like, okay, this was a one-off, this person's probably busy, they're normally like, we get on and we get each other. But if it's something that I'm seeing is repeatedly happening and is starting to hurt my feelings, and it's not really, doesn't feel nice, and it's starting to make me feel underappreciated or undervalued or whatever, at that point I'll probably choose to communicate and choose to mention it in a way that's not accusing anybody of anything. I may say something like, if it's a friend or if I'm seeing someone and they're acting a certain way, I may say, thank you for getting back to me. Just want to let you know that sometimes when you say this thing, it feels a little bit disrespectful to me. You may not mean it in this way, but just so you know, I don't feel good when you say that, or can we talk about it, or can we find another way of doing this? Now, at that point, I'm trying to establish a level of trust with people when I do that. And it is important to me to surround myself with people where I am able to express who I am and what my needs are. And at a point of trying to communicate with someone in that way, if they're being respectful of it, and if we can work out a solution, and they're, they genuinely care about the fact that something's, not coming across the right way or whatever, then we would talk about it. And that's when I feel like, okay, this is someone who I feel safe with, because they're willing to look at things that perhaps are hurting my feelings or whatever, things like that. And then that's a safe relationship, and I can pour more into that person, and I can open up to that person, and you create like some sort of like safe connection with some people. Now, if I do the same to another person and I express this and they're like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way, but in an abrupt and not caring way, and saying, you know, that's like a you problem, or if it comes across in a dismissive way or like an empty, like, oh, sorry, and they're not trying to understand, that gives me a very clear indication of the sort of relationships. And I was actually talking to a friend about this, which is just so cool. But it gives you an idea whether someone is a true friend and someone that you can create and nurture a good relationship with, you know, whether it's work, whether it's friendship, whether it's relationships, whatever, or whether it's a transactional thing and you just have to stay matter of fact with the other person, because it may be that you're not made to have a friendship, but perhaps you've got a professional relationship, you know, that works very well. Perhaps you, you know, there's relationships in our lives and acquaintances and things like that that are not made to be close friends and us to have like those sort of meaningful relationships with. But it helps me categorize, and it helps me know where my energy is best used and in what way. And I found that a very freeing process. And basically the core to this video is that I've learned to not take it quite so personally now. I'm not going to lie to you. If I'm quite invested in something, yes, my initial response is still to think, oh, you know, have I done something wrong, or why is this person being like this, or how rude, or whatever. But I do catch myself more often than not, and then I can ask myself the question of like, is this really important? Could it be they're just having a bad day? Could it just be that, you know, there's something going on? I might sometimes reach out and say, thank you for getting back to me. I hope everything's okay. If there's ever anything I can do, please let me know. Or I may express, like I said earlier, if something is hurting my feelings and they're doing it repeatedly and I'm not okay with it, aim to express that and communicate it in a non-accusatory way and non-judgy way, and see where that takes us. And then obviously just be realistic about the sort of interactions I have with people where it's not going to be that sort of relationship and you have to maintain a certain level of professionalism or whatever. But yeah, just like letting go of that prejudgment of it's to do with me, because 90% of the time, if not more, it's really nothing to do with me. And the stress of thinking I've caused something, or thinking of, you know, what have I done and things like that, it's such a waste of energy that could be put to much better things in life. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this has helped someone. I hope it was interesting, and if so, don't forget to give me that like, share this video and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.